Alright, and with that, we should be live again. Hello everyone. Give me actually a second everybody, I'm just gonna listen to my own stream to make sure this sounds okay. Okay, it seems to be sounding fine. I'm going to assume it is. But anyway, hello everyone, I hope you're having a good day. Welcome. We are doing a bit of a different type of stream today. And, well, what I wanted to do today was do something kind of unique, basically. And that was, I wanted to talk about the whole thing about video game adaptations. And, many people know that video games seem to be getting adapted a lot, especially now into movies and TV shows and a bunch of little things that are sometimes great and are other times the absolute fucking worst. So basically, for those people who know me and have been in touch with me, you probably know that not too long ago I decided to watch the Borderlands movie. It was a couple days ago and it was painful. It was genuinely one of the worst things I've ever sat through in my life. And that is saying it as someone who is a Borderlands fan and still finds the movies to be quite enjoyable. Well, not the movies, the game. The movie was not enjoyable, the games were really enjoyable, but the movie was terrible. And it kind of got me thinking about video game adaptations and doing things. Love you for good as well. What's up, Def? Hope you're doing well. But yeah, so it got me thinking about video game adaptations as a whole, and I wanted to do a little presentation about it, because you guys know I like my presentations. And I felt like this was a subject I could ramble on for enough time to actually, basically do something about it. So yeah, that's what we're going to be discussing today. We're going to be talking about video game adaptations and doing all of that stuff. So I hope you guys enjoy that. But in the meantime, let's move on to the slides. The presentation itself, which I hope you enjoy. It's literally just a fucking PowerPoint. It's literally just a fucking cheap-ass looking PowerPoint presentation. That's what you get from me. This is the quality you get when you come to a now stream, okay? You get I don't quite enjoy gay annotations. Yeah, we're gonna get into it. We're gonna get into the good, the bad, the meh, and the Jesus fucking Christ. So that said, who's ready to start talking about some game adaptations, bro? Who's ready to start talking about some game adaptations, bro? Alright. So, firstly, I want to at least mention a couple of game adaptations that I think are actually pretty okay. And the thing is, a lot of video game adaptations, at least in, by today's standards and everything, they don't really reach the same heights as other TV shows or other movies most of the time, but they do a decent enough job in being, like, fine. It's passable. It's okay. We don't need to kill someone over this. We can actually be okay with it. And for an example, should I switch up music to match the games I'm speaking of? I feel like I should. Yeah. Let's switch up music for it. I'll actually put music quiet a little bit just so I can figure out what tracks I'm listening to. Oh, here we go. This is the real shit, baby. This is the real shit right here. Hold on. Wait. Where's my music? There it is. Okay, so we have, for the first slide, We have the adaptations that didn't quite stick the landing, but they tried. And you know what? At least let's be happy that they did try. And those adaptations, for example, I'm using the Ace Attorney anime, the Tekken anime, and also Final Fantasy Advent Children. All of these adaptations did one thing, and that was they at least tried. They didn't do that well, but they at least tried in a sense. And I think that they should at least be appreciated in some way for doing that, you know? So, I expect to see a lot of anime, by the way. I don't really see many video games of anime adaptations. So, a lot of modern video game adaptations tend to fall within this category, as in, like, they're not great, but they at least did their best with what they could, and it's okay. Going over the main three here, the Ace Attorney anime is actually a pretty decent retelling of the Ace Attorney game. Yeah, Ace Attorney was fine. Ace Attorney was fine. The only real issue about it was the budget. As a lot of people point out when they speak about the Ace Attorney anime, the budget was noticeably very low. It was very low. Because the animation had a lot of issues. There were a lot of people going off model. There was a lot of situations where Edgeworth's hair changed size a lot. And Maya went from looking cute to looking like she had the Grand Canyon between her eyes. But if you can look past the somewhat on and off animation, it's a decently okay adaptation. It's like alright. And I think it should still at least be commended for that. And the Tekken Bloodline adaptation too. The Tekken Bloodline adaptation is another okay one. It's not really that great. There are a lot of parts of it that feel a little bit rushed, not really well thought out, but there was some clear effort behind it. The hyper stylized look of it, for example. You know, it looks nothing like the games, but it's trying to be its own thing. And also, when the characters are fighting, they repeatedly do moves and combos from the game, so there was care put into it. It's just the execution was okay. And then you have Final Fantasy Advent Children. I feel like people are gonna hate me for this one, but Advent Children admittedly isn't that good. It's just very well animated. Like, if we're talking about Advent Children as a continuation from Final Fantasy VII, as kind of like, you know, a big finale to it, the only thing Advent Children really is going for is the action sequences are fantastic, but everything else is kind of messy. Yeah, exactly. Advent Children, as a movie, Advent Children is messy, but the action sequences are legitimately fantastic. That is the best part about it. So, yeah, all of these situations here they're not great. Let's be honest. All of these things in a vacuum admittedly aren't very good. But the main thing you can say about these adaptations versus some of the other adaptations is that they tried. And sometimes trying is the best you can do, you know? Because it is very hard to adapt a video game into a thing, into a series, into a movie, as we'll see going forward. But I want to at least highlight that it isn't always negativity. Sometimes people do try and they genuinely put in a good amount of effort. They just miss the mark by a couple of steps. And I think that's okay. I think it's okay to try and fail a little bit. However, there are some adaptations that try too hard. Okay? There is a such thing as trying too hard. And we'll get into this next. So for the next thing, who the fuck sent me something? God damn it, Sunset, I'm streaming! I forgot to turn off Discord notifications. Anyway, but yes, there is a such thing as trying too hard, and I will get into the whole trying too hard thing very soon with this, as we get into the next batch. So the next batch. So these are the adaptations that tried, right? But they didn't quite hit the mark. What about the adaptations that try too hard? The ones that try far too hard to achieve something and end up ultimately failing. this is when you get a situation like this. The why even bother situation. Now, what do I mean by being too faithful? Basically, here's the thing. The Uncharted movie, the Tomb Raider movie, and the Ratchet & Clank movie. To anyone who's watched them, has played the games, genuinely you could probably figure out what the immediate issue is. The main issue with these movies is they are so faithful to the point where it feels redundant. So, the Ratchet & Clank movie feels like it's basically you're just watching the game cutscenes. That's it. You're just watching the game cutscenes. Some of them are literally the game cutscenes, but the lighting is slightly different. The Uncharted movie does an effort to recreate scenes from Uncharted 3, but those scenes aren't nearly as exciting because we've already played those sequences. We've already been through them. And the Tomb Raider movie's a fucking joke. The Tomb Raider movie, for those people who played the Tomb Raider remakes, the reboot series even, the Tomb Raider movie does an effort to recreate the game basically shot for shot, word for word, lighting for lighting, scenery for scenery, to the point where if I were to show you a sequence from the Tomb Raider movie next to a cutscene from the game, you'd notice that they basically carbon copied the game. And at that point, I kind of ask, what is the point? What's the point in making this? Because the game's always going to be more engaging. Let's face it. Would you rather watch Lara Croft do everything that you can do in the game? Or would you want to watch her go through maybe a unique story, a unique adaptation, instead of just a carbon copy of what you did in the fucking game? And I think that is ultimately the basic example of, like, there is a such thing as being so faithful to the extent where it loops around and I don't want to watch it anymore. I'd rather play the game. And that was the feeling I got with a lot of these, especially the Tomb Raider movie. I really like the Tomb Raider games. When I watched the Tomb Raider movie, I was recognizing so many scenes, so many lighting sequences, so many everything, so many sets, everything. To the point where when I was watching it, I said to myself, I'd rather play the game. Because when I'm playing the game, I'm in control. It's more exciting. It's more cool. And this is the problem with being so faithful that it feels redundant. It feels like it doesn't really matter. And yeah, all of these have that issue. All of these have that issue. I don't really care about seeing... Yeah, Dev, you're getting it. Yeah, you're getting it, Dev, you're getting it. Yeah, I don't really care about seeing Nathan Drake get flung out a plane and he's holding on to the things on the plane to get back in, because I played that sequence. I played that sequence years ago, and it was fun! But while watching it, all I can say to myself is, damn, I wish I was playing this. And ultimately I think that, damn, that was a short OST track, what the fuck? Ultimately I feel like that's the issue with being too faithful. You are so faithful to the extent where you are redundant. Made it as an ad for the game. Yeah, basically. They basically made it as an ad. That's what it feels like. That's what it feels like. Have you ever watched a video game trailer? And when you watch the trailer, you're like, damn, I want to play that game. What these movies are, is they feel like hour-long trailers. They feel like hour-long trailers. But the issue is you've already played the game, because by the time the movie comes out, the game's been out for fucking years. Okay? The Ratchet & Clank movie came out really closely to the remake. The Tomb Raider movie came out long after the reboot series. And the Uncharted movie, Uncharted concluded. The story of Uncharted concluded years before this movie came out. So at that point, it's basically like you're sitting down and you're watching an hour-long ad. You're watching an hour-long ad to play the game. And it's just like, I don't enjoy it. And to show just how annoying it is, my friend Shadow watched the Tomb Raider movie, and he said, damn, that movie was pretty good. And then I showed him a snippet from the game, and he went, wait, I could have been playing that sequence? What the fuck? I'd rather play the game. I'd rather play the game, bro. And yeah, that is an exact issue. It's, there is a such thing as being too faithful. But at the same time, there are a lot of video game movies that are, shall we say, so bad they're good? Is that the right way of, saying it? How many video game movies have you guys seen that are so unbelievably awful they loop around to being amazing? There are a shocking decent amount of video game movies like that. And I think there are, well, we gotta get moving on to those ones. Hold on. So let's go on to the video game adaptations. By the way, this is gonna be quite a short stream because as you can tell. Let's go on to the video game adaptations that are so unbelievably dog shit that they end up becoming great. Okay? And those adaptations are genuinely amazing. So what do all these movies have in common? What do all these video games have in common? Like these video game movies, what do they have in common? The answer is that they all kind of suck. Street Fighter is fire. The Street Fighter movie is awful, and it's so good because of that. Dumpster fire, yes. So, the thing about these movies is that they're not good movies. They're really not. But oh my god, do I love them. And you know what? If a video game movie is going to be bad, I'd rather it be so bad that I can love it. You know what I mean? I'd rather it be a complete shit show that I can actually love it. The Street Fighter movie is one of the most stupid things I've ever watched. But it's really good because of that. I will never forget the movie. I rewatched the DOA battle series. It's so cringe. Yeah, legitimately. The Dead or Alive movie is also unbelievably cringe. But I love it. It's so funny. Both the Street Fighter and Dead or Alive movie try to take themselves so seriously, despite being so unbelievably fucking stupid. And Postal, I'll get to you. I'll get the Postal in a second. The FNAF movie, let's be honest guys, the FNAF movie is not good. Let's be fair. It's not good. But we still love it, because it's FNAF. Because it's dumb. FNAF is dumb. FNAF is stupid. Okay? It's not scary. It's not, like, that cool. The story is convoluted as all fuck. But that's why we love it. Because it's so fucking dumb. And that's why we love it. However, there is one movie here I would actually say is so bad, it's genuinely a masterpiece, and that's the Postal movie. So let me tell you about the Postal movie. The Postal movie is legitimately one of the worst things I've ever watched. The lighting, awful. The acting, trash. The set design, trash. The cinematography, trash. The writing, terrible. The story, a dumpster fire. The humor, overly offensive. It's making fun of everyone, everything. Nobody is safe. It is so edgy to the point where it becomes cringeworthy. It is awful. It's terrible. It's one of the worst things ever. It is so unbelievably faithful to the fucking game in that sense that it's a genuine masterpiece. The Postal movie is exactly like the game. And it's amazing because of that. It is awful. And that's why we love it. All of these movies are terrible. Genuinely terrible. But at the same time, if I'm going to watch something that makes me cringe, I'd rather it made me cringe in a good way. I would like to watch something that is so unbelievably dog shit that it makes me genuinely happy. And I think all of these movies basically fall in that line. If you have not watched any of these movies, and you want a good fucking laugh, I'd recommend watching these. But please do it with friends. Please do it with people you know. Don't watch them alone. Watch it with people that you can sit down and just laugh about it with, okay? However, for our next slide, I know we're going by quite a bit. Like I said, this stream's not going to be very long. I just wanted to do this for the sake of doing it. One of the other things we can talk about when it comes to video game annotation is cutting for time. Now, cutting for time is a very difficult process to do, okay? It's a very, very, very difficult process to get the handle of. Because cutting for time is not always going to be easy. Now, I'm gonna quickly try to grab some. Okay. So cutting for time is not going to be easy. When you're doing a video game adaptation, you need to cut for time. You need to try and find out what you're going to do within the, you know, within the series, within the movie, within what you're going to handle. And I think there are some things that do a really good job when it comes to cutting for time, a really bad job when it comes to cutting for time, and a nice middle ground that you can somewhat try to achieve. And that's the next thing we're going to be watching. And god, how many people are going to feel shivers up their spine when I talk about video game adaptations and you hear this music? What the fuck? Why did it? No. Yes, we're talking about that one. Cutting for time's sake. Okay. So, right here, we have 3 video game adaptations. One of which I think cuts too much, one of it cuts far too little, and one finds a nice sweet spot. So when it comes to adapting a video game, you're not always going to be able to do everything that the game does. It's just impossible. These games are near over 40 hours long, and you can't get all of that. So what adaptations often need to do is they need to cut for time's sake. They need to try and find a way to make it digestible for an audience in this format. The Danganronpa anime is okay, but anyone who has played the game will tell you that far too much is cut. There is far too many character interactions, far too many moments, far too many everything that feels missing, and it makes the overall experience feel less worthy. Yeah, the Assassin's Creed movie is weird, man. Genuinely speaking, the Danganronpa series, although it's fine, it loses a lot of what makes Danganronpa Danganronpa. It loses a lot of its core charm because it needs to cut so much. If it had a longer runtime, more episodes, more time to put everything out, it would feel a lot better. And then you have the Assassin's Creed movie. The Assassin's Creed movie is so bloated beyond belief. It actually hurts to watch. So, here's the thing about the Assassin's Creed movie. Alright? They try their best to explain both the historical aspect of Assassin's Creed and the sci-fi aspect of Assassin's Creed. The problem, however, is it's just like the games. The sci-fi aspect is so fucking boring, you don't care. In the Assassin's Creed movie, you get maybe 5 minutes of a scene that is genuinely hype. The Danganronpa game is like 40 hours long, most of which are talking. Of course they had to fit in the series. Why even bother? Exactly. They had to cut out a lot of what gave Danganronpa its charm, which is kind of bad, honestly. If it was a bit longer, you could have maybe had fun little episodes of characters just chatting. It's kind of difficult. In Assassin's Creed, however, you maybe get, say you're sitting down watching the Assassin's Creed movie. Here's a 5-minute scene of the Spanish Inquisition assassins. It is fun. It is so good. The set pieces, awesome. The looks of the characters, amazing. The action, super fun. You see them running around. They're all speaking in Spanish. It is great. And then after that scene, the movie is then like, here is a 20-minute scene of characters just sitting and talking. because we need to explain the plot to you. We need to explain Assassin's Creed to you. That isn't fun. That's not fun. I don't want to watch that because it's just tiring. I'd rather the Assassin's Creed movie was, I don't know, a series? Maybe something that could spend more time, an episode in the historical aspect of Assassin's Creed, an episode in the sci-fi aspect of Assassin's Creed. That way I don't feel like the movie's constantly on stop and go. Every single time. It's too bloated. It's too much. It feels too tiring. No one who has not played Assassin's Creed is gonna watch the movie and be like, Tom, I'm gonna play the games now. I'm gonna be so excited, because they're just gonna be bored out of their fucking mind. And that's how I feel watching the Assassin's Creed movie. But there is a sweet spot, and the sweet spot, I think, is Arcane. I think Arcane has the sweet spot. I don't play a lot of League of Legends, but I'll agree that Arcane's amazing. Arcane looks at this massive world in League, okay? This huge world with so many characters, so much lore, and it says, no, we're gonna focus on a singular story with a smaller cast of characters. That is still a really good story, it just doesn't really interconnect the wider League of Legends world. And you know what? That works. It works because the singular story still feels well thought out, well written, well paced, and it's still being respectful to the game in that this is a story that does exist. This is a story that we know of, we can enjoy. It's not like it's trying to fill the entire world of League of Legends into a singular series. And I think that is admittedly a good decision when it comes to cutting for time. You're cutting out a large part of the world, sure, but you're doing it to focus on a singular story that still works, still relates to the games, and doesn't make fans feel like they're missing out on anything. Danganronpa makes fans feel like they're missing out. Assassin's Creed makes fans feel like they want to walk out the theater. A bit too harsh there, but anyway, Assassin's Creed makes me look at my watch. Arcane finds a nice middle ground, where it has just enough where fans are satisfied, and just a little where people who don't know anything about the game can still enjoy it, still watch it and feel satisfied for watching it. It doesn't grind to a halt. Hi, what's up, Matsuya? We're doing a little presentation today. A very little presentation today I made. So yes, that is admittedly the main point we need to get to. When you're adapting a game, the best thing to do is find a middle ground. Adapt enough of the story where people know what's going on, but not so much where it's bloated beyond belief. How are you today? I'm alright. I've got some dry mouth though, I'm chugging water. Have you ever woke up with dry mouth? You just chug water? Music is a little louder. I had to listen to it. It's mostly fine. It's mostly fine from what I heard. Hold on, I have another listen to it. Like when I speak. Yeah, it sounds mostly okay, but like, no. But yeah, so that's the middle ground that I think is important to reach. Now, the next thing, you know how we spoke about how there's a such thing as being too faithful. There's a such thing as not really being able to break out from being a video game. What happens when a video game movie is so faithful, is so focused on the fact that it is a video game movie, that that's the only selling point, admittedly. And I will admit, this one might anger a few people, I'm gonna stick my fucking ground with this. Okay? I'm sticking to my ground with this. You cannot tell me no. So, here we go. So, there is a such thing as relying too much on the fact that you are a video game. And these are examples of that. So right here we have two movies that I think do a really good job at just being movies that just so happen to be adapted from video games. And then we have two movies that really fucking don't. So, Detective Pikachu and the Sonic movie. Both shockingly good, Sonic especially so. I'm a Sonic fan, I expected this movie to be shit. It's actually good. The thing that makes these movies really good is the fact that they take these massive worlds and they squish them down to be digestible for an audience going to the cinema, but enjoyable enough where fans can have fun with it. It doesn't depend too much on the fact that it's a video game movie, basically. Detective Pikachu, although there's Pokemon in it, it's a detective story. It's a story about a guy trying to find his dad, a guy who's met this little weird yellow rat that I want to kick, and they're going on a little detective adventure. Sonic is about Sonic being in this world and he doesn't really know anybody. These are fun movies. These are good movies. And the main thing they do is they don't rely too heavily on the fact that they are a video game movie. When you're watching Detective Pikachu, it doesn't rely too much on the fact that, hey, this is Pokemon! You know Pokemon, right? And it gets to the point where they're sitting you down and they're trying to explain to you what type advantages are and what gym leaders are. And oh boy, do you know what evolutionary stones is? They don't do that. They cut that shit out. They take away. And I know some people wanted a Pokemon movie where it's like, oh hey, I wanted to see Pokemon fighting. I wanted to see them going to gyms. Firstly, dude, the anime's been going on for over 10 fucking years. You have your adaptation there. Secondly, that would be far too much. For a audience that's going to see the movie, it would be far too much. So what they do is they make a movie that's enjoyable enough for the fans to have a good time with, but also enjoyable enough where if people are going to see this movie and they don't know anything about Pokemon, they can still have a good time with it. My mom went to see the Pokemon movie with me. She's never played a Pokemon game in her life. She really enjoyed it. She thought it was a fun movie. And the Sonic movie as well, it's really fun. I've seen people who have never played a Sonic game enjoy the Sonic movie. And that's a good thing. That is a good thing. You need to have that thing where even if people have not played the games before, they can still enjoy it. Oh yeah, the first Sonic was something else, Jesus Christ. At least they fixed that, holy shit. But yeah, but you need to make an adaptation that fans can enjoy, yeah, but you also need to remember that other people are going to be watching this movie, and fans might be rewatching this movie. How does the movie hold up once the pizzazz with Warcraft was a fan service showcase? No, it was. Mario movie was a fun silly cartoon with favorite characters. Yeah, no. No, the Mario movie was just bad. It wasn't good. And I'll explain why. The Mario movie and the Warcraft movie rely too much on fan service. They really do. The Mario movie was poorly paced as fuck. And it was incredibly basic. The Mario movie was incredibly poorly paced. Donkey Kong and Mario go from hating each other to having one single scene. One scene where they exchange 5 pieces, maybe 4 pieces of dialogue. And then suddenly they're like, we're friends now. That's cool. Luigi, who spends half the movie getting bullied, suddenly, at the end of the movie, is like, Mario, here's a star. I'm gonna fight with you. What was his character arc? What was his character arc? What was Luigi's character arc? He got braver? When did he become more brave? He spends half the movie in prison, and then suddenly at the very end, he's like, I got your back, bro. Where was his arc? Where was his character arc? What happened? Luigi, the movie is called Mario Bros. Why does one of the brothers just not have a fucking character arc? And then there's sequences of them walking through the land, you know, and it's like, hey, do you remember the fish enemy? Do you remember the Koopas? Do you remember the dry bones? adaptations? Hey, do you remember Mario Kart? We're gonna have it for a single scene. And then we're just gonna move on. Hey, do you remember the blue shell? With this guy who yells blue shell and he chases after you? Do you remember that? Justice for Luigi. The Mario movie was so heavy on fan service that once the fan service is gone, what do you have? You have a movie with poorly paced characters. A movie with a story that feels incredibly rushed. It feels incredibly poorly done. Characters that go through character arcs in 2 seconds. To separate it. Yeah, legitimately. Like, the movie is a visual fun splendor, but once you get past that, once you get past the fact that it's Mario, it's just another mid-illumination movie. It just is. The character arcs happen so quickly. But Toad is suddenly brave. Toad appears and he's like, oh, I want to help the princess. And then he doesn't say half for shit in the next couple of scenes. And then when Peach is like, everyone needs to go, Bowser is on his way, Toad's like, no, I'm staying here. And Peach is like, wow, Toad, you're such a great friend. What was his character arc? Did he go for a moment? What led to that? And again, Donkey Kong's mad that his dad doesn't appreciate him, and then he fights Mario, and then they hate each other, and then they're in cars, and then they get eaten, and then they exchange like 3 pieces of dialogue, and now they're out of the thing, and then suddenly we're best buddies. The movie's not good. And then you have Warcraft. Princess is in her character. Yeah, you know what? I will say one thing about the Mario movie. About Bowser was good. Bowser was good. We like Bowser in this house, okay? We appreciate Bowser in this house. Alright, we appreciate Bowser in this house. But that's the thing about the Mario movie, is it does rely too much on the fact that it's a Mario movie, and once that pizzazz is gone, once that initial, ooh, it's Mario is gone, it's nowhere near as enjoyable. And the exact same thing goes for Warcraft. Warcraft is the exact same problem. Once that pizzazz is gone, once it's, hey, this is Warcraft, do you remember this? Do you remember that? Oh man, he's doing that move he does in the boss fight. Oh, look, there's a frog thing that speaks. Look, guys, look. Oh, there's a spell. You know that spell. Yo, there's this character. You know that character. You know, oh my god, there's this one thing that's named after that thing you know in the game. You know that. You know that. It's too much. When you're a fan and you go to see it, you will love it. For the first part, you'll probably have a good time with it. But once the pizzazz is gone, what are you left with? Also, hello Mark, I didn't say hello to you. What are you left with once the pizzazz is gone? Once the pizzazz of, oh my god, it's World of Warcraft, oh my god, it's Mario is gone, what are you left with? You're left with a mediocre movie. A movie that's kind of boring, poorly paced, poorly put together. That's both the Mario and Warcraft movie. Compared to the Sonic and Detective Pikachu movie, take away that pizzazz, you're left with a funny little movie about a little alien dude and his human friend, and a silly little detective movie that's pretty fun. These movies achieve the goal of standing on their own after the initial pizzazz is gone. The Warcraft and Mario movie, when the pizzazz is gone, you're left with just a very boring movie. And that's something to keep in mind. Sonic will wear glasses. Shadow will be happy as hell. I mean, he's already being voiced by Keanu Reeves, so... that's one thing. But there is such a thing. There is such a thing as depending too much. You can have too much fan service, and you can be really bad because of it. But I want to give a little collage, because here's the thing. Although there are a lot of like really bad video game adaptations, there are a lot of good ones. And I think when loads of people say that, oh, there are only ever bad video game adaptations, they're kind of not being fair. Because there are good video game adaptations. There are some amazing video game adaptations out there. And I want to kind of highlight some of them because they're really fucking good. Have we talked about Fallout? I haven't watched Fallout, so I wasn't able to talk about it. I wasn't able to talk about it. I didn't want to, because I'm not a big Fallout fan. So I didn't watch it. Anyway. So, but I do want to highlight some adaptations that are generally really good. Okay? Because I feel like a lot of people, when they talk about these adaptations and they talk about the problems, just Moon recommended, and for me, as a person who never played Fallout, was cool. Oh, alright. I've heard a lot of people say they either love it or they absolutely fucking despise it. So I'll have to see. But I want to highlight the good video game adaptations. And the good video game adaptations are, well, there's a lot of them. It's just a lot of them get kind of swept under the rug. But, see, there are good ones. Play. Hello? Watch together. Okay, there. Anyway, these are some good video game adaptations. My avatar in Discord is an NCR Ranger. Specials for the Atlas series. Alright, also hello, Urban. So, these are some good video game adaptations. I want to put these here because a lot of people, when they speak about video game adaptations, we only ever talk about the bad. We also gotta talk about the good. I obviously add the Detective Pikachu adaptation here and the Sonic movie here because they're good. Got the Castlevania anime. The Castlevania anime is really fucking good. It's really great. The Pokemon anime is probably one of the biggest animes of all time. Game goes out. Same when the game goes out. Oh yeah, the Scarlet Nexus anime was made alongside the video game, and it's really good. The Twisted Metal series is shockingly good. Like, shockingly enjoyable. Street Fighter The Assassin's Fist. For those people who have not watched Street Fighter The Assassin's Fist, it's really good. The original Mortal Kombat movie. The Last of Us. I don't even like The Last of Us. I'll admit it's a good show. And the Cyberpunk anime single-handedly saved the game. Let's be honest. These are all good adaptations. There's a start. Yeah, Def. They made the anime alongside the game. So the idea was that they would release the anime slightly after the game. Yeah. But these are some good video game adaptations. These are some fun video game adaptations. And you know what? There was a lot more. But not the serious game. Yeah, not the game. Oh, thank you. Yeah. But I wanted to highlight these because a lot of people, I feel like, when they talk about video game adaptations, we only ever talk about the bad. We only ever talk about the bad. But there are good. And you know what? There are more I could add to this list. There's a lot more I could add to this list. I could add Arcane to the list. Arcane is a legitimately good series. It's a really good series. It's an awesome series even. There's a video game based off this werewolf. There's a series based off this werewolf game. I've heard it's amazing. And it's really fucking cool. It's like actually really interesting. There are a lot more. Yeah, Fate. No, Fate is, because Fate is like a gacha game, isn't it? And the Fate anime is huge. There are a lot more I could put onto this list of good video game adaptations. Of things that are actually well done. And I think all of these series are well done. Like I said, Castlevania and Cyberpunk single-handedly boosted the popularity of the games. Castlevania was dead in the water. Fate is a really old visual novel. Well, if it's a visual novel, that still counts. That still counts. It's an interactive game. Visual novels are games, basically. Which we'll get into that for a bit. Yeah, the first Fate was very messy. But after, it was awesome. It was great. Like I said, like Castlevania and Cyberpunk single-handedly brought the series back, right? Twisted Metal, which no one expected to be good, was actually fun. Street Fighter The Assassin's Fist redeemed the Street Fighter movie curse. The original Mortal Kombat movie is still talked about for years as one of the best video game adaptations. Detective Pikachu and Sonic were massive successes, Scarlet Nexus was made alongside the game, Last of Us was great, and of course, the Pokemon anime. Do I even need to mention anything about Pokemon anime? I am almost convinced that if you've never played a Pokemon game, you've at least seen the Pokemon anime. And I imagine a lot of people have the Pokemon anime as a part of their childhood. There are a lot of good video game adaptations out there. A lot of great ones. No, it didn't. It didn't. We'll get... No. Start, Monsium, we'll get there. We'll get there. And I'll explain why. They did a really good job with all of these. All of these. And everything. And I think that we need to sometimes acknowledge that there are good video game adaptations. You may notice, though, a lot of these are animated. And here's the thing, a lot of people, don't really, you know, acknowledge animation when it comes to video game adaptations, but they do a good job. They do a really good job, and I think we need to acknowledge them. And be positive about it. Be positive that there are good video game adaptations out there. However, there are also some really fucking bad ones. I think it's about time, hey, we talk about some of the worst of the worst of the worst. Shouldn't we talk about some of the absolute worst? What do you mean? No, Irving. Dude, Irving, as someone who's a Borderlands fan, I have half a mind to beat the fuck out of you, but I do agree the movie was also awful as fuck. Let's yeah, I fucking will, you piece of shit. Let's talk about the worst of the worst. The bad video game adaptations. Which, Jesus Christ, there's a lot. I had to minimize how many I showed on this screen. So let's talk about them. You know what's funny? You know what's really funny? Borderlands isn't even the worst one here. My god, there are so many bad ones. Let's go over these. Okay, first off, I watched Borderlands. It was painful. I love Borderlands. I think the Borderlands games are really fun. They are really fun shooters with characters that are likable. Even if you don't find the characters funny, they are still likable. The movie is not. Yeah, legitimately, no, Angry Birds is the best one here. That is horrifying to think of. But Angry Birds is the best one here. So let's go over all of them. First of all, Monster Hunter. Does anyone remember the Monster Hunter movie? Do y'all remember the Monster Hunter movie based in modern day with the military fighting the monsters? Y'all remember the Monster Hunter movie? Sweet Jesus, it is painful. Oh my god. Most of these are just boring bad. Yeah, exactly. They're not so bad they're good. They are boring bad as well. The Assassin's Creed movie drags on like fuck. The Rampage movie... What the fuck was that movie? The Prince of Persia movie... You didn't even cast a Persian guy to play the Prince of Persia! Oh my god. The Doom movies, awful. The Hitman movies, awful. The Resident Evil movies, how many of them did they make? The Angry Birds movie, terrible. I will admit though, the sequel's good, but the first one, awful. The Mortal Kombat reboot, oh my god. The original Mario movie and the Borderlands movie. All these movies are terrible, and they're completely disrespectful to the games. They are disrespectful to the games. As someone who went to see Borderlands a couple of days ago, I hate how people are gonna go watch that movie and then say the games are exactly like it, because it's not. Okay? It's not. The games have actual likable characters and stakes in the story. The movie doesn't. The movie's shit. And the same thing goes with some of these other games that admittedly kinda ruined a big part of the franchise. Assassin's Creed highlighted the oldest, so it deserves to repeat. Yeah, Jesus Christ. The Assassin's Creed movie paints the whole franchise as a big boring mess, which there's actually quite a lot of exciting moments in it. The Prince of Persia movie killed Prince of Persia. The Prince of Persia movie killed Prince of Persia. It did. I blame the movie. Because then they made a game inspired by the movie. And oh boy, that is a game. So many of these movies are so bad to the point where they actively harm the franchises they're based off of. And that's just... Yeah, the game's great. Yeah, Prince of Persia... Yeah, no, there's a game based off the Prince of Persia movie. Credit the Mario Bros for having all the cast and staff be piss drunk. Yeah, Jesus Christ. All of these movies when they came out, they actively hurt the franchises. And here's the thing, some of these are still recovering. Alright? Resident Evil for a long time was in the dirt, and it took a while to recover. Angry Birds is basically dead now. Hitman took a long time to come back. Out of all the series that recovered, Monster Hunter recovered the fastest. The Monster Hunter movie came and went. Okay, it came in and we just forgot about it. Alright? The Mario movie also kind of just came and went. Those movies were terrible, awful, but at least they didn't actively harm the franchise as much as the other movies. The Assassin's Creed movie, I would say, genuinely did. Same with Angry Birds, especially Prince of Persia. Rampage as well, the Mortal Kombat movie as well. I would say it hurt the franchise. It made people be more bitter towards the newer Mortal Kombats. And I hate to say it, but I think Borderlands is going to get the same treatment. I have been replaying the Borderlands games after the movie came out, and I can tell you for a fact, those games are still fucking great. They are still fun, they are still engaging, combat is fun, the characters, even if you don't find them funny. I don't find a lot of Borderlands funny. I never laughed at Tiny Tina, but she's still likable. But the movie's out, and I can guarantee you, people are gonna be like, oh, it's just like the games. And that's what a lot of these movies did. They came out, and they actively hurt the fucking games. The biggest offender here is Prince of Persia. I don't think the Borderlands movie is going to actively ruin Borderlands, the franchise. I think we're still gonna keep getting Borderlands games. But Prince of Persia actively killed Prince of Persia. Let's face it. Let's face it. It actively... if there's one video game movie here that harmed the franchise the most, it's Prince of Persia. Let's be completely honest. It is Prince of Persia. The other ones, Monster Hunter and Mario, thankfully came and went. Hitman was around for a really long time. Doom was also, people were really bitter about it. Borderlands Immortal, to be honest, it's already because so much news existed. Yeah, Jesus Christ. But still, hey, Monster, people said the same thing about Prince of Persia. don't count your chickens before they hatch, mate. A lot of these movies made people more bitter towards the games. What's up? Yo, what's up, King? We're not really... King? Did I just call you King? Sorry! I'm sorry. What's up, my king? How you doing? Sorry. I read your name as King. We're doing a bit of a short stream talking about game adaptations. So, anyway, yeah. Here's the thing. A lot of these movies are so bad to the point where they actively hurt the franchise. Some of them recovered, some of them didn't. I pray that Borderlands can recover from the movie. Because like I said, Borderlands 1, pretty fun. Borderlands 2, awesome. Pre-sequel, awesome. Free, people hate on it way too much. It's still really good. Tiny Tina's Borderlands, admittedly not the best. Tales from the Borderlands, great. Tales 2, it never happened. We don't talk about Tales 2. Anyway. I only ever watched Resident Evil movies. Jesus Christ! You only ever watched the Resident movies? Oh no! All of these are terrible. And yes, I will admit that although we had a slide acknowledging the good, there are a lot of bad. I see video game movies like anime to live action as a joke. Okay. Gonna agree to disagree. Also, my dad loves the Ari movies. I wish he did. No, the Ari movies suck. The Ari movies suck. All of these movies suck, and all of them are really, really bad. And they actively hurt the games. That's the thing. They hurt the games. And it's really a shame. And you know what's more shame? I'm a fan of all of these games. I mean, just like the main characters are right. I get that. I'm a big fan of all these games. I love Monster Hunter, I love Assassin's Creed, I love Borderlands, I love Prince of Persia, I love Hitman, I love Doom. And all these movies, when they came out, they just hurt me. They just hurt me, man. They just hurt me. But with that said, I want to go on of what is my best opinion. What is my opinion the best and the worst adaptation? Okay? Some fucker will make a live adaptation of No Game No Life. I will destroy it. They probably will. They will, Monster, it's inevitable. So here's the thing. With everything that we went over here, everything that I've mentioned... Music, can you stop? Okay, so everything that we mentioned here, when I went through everything, I just showed it, fuck's sake. So, I mentioned that you have to at least do an attempt, okay? You cannot depend too much on the source material, otherwise what's the fucking point? You rather just play the game. You can be really bad, but as long as you're still fun about it, it's okay. And you need to cut for time's sake. If you do not cut for time's sake, you're either gonna be too bloated, or you're gonna feel like you cut too much. And also, you cannot depend too much on the fact that fans are gonna come watch the movie and be like, oh wow, video game! And when that's gone, no one's gonna care. You need to do that. So that said, what do I think is the one that does that the best? What do I think is the best one that does that? And for me, it was pretty obvious. For me, it was pretty fucking obvious what I think is the best one that does that, and I don't, like... I don't think it's, like, entirely debatable. In terms of what does the best one. Okay, let me get those two. Are you fucking shitting me, man? What the fuck? Okay, so I couldn't even get the OST. Well, that's fucking great. Thank you. Give me a second. What the fuck? Kick the bench. Why is it like this? Why does it do this to me? I just wanted to get the funny OST. I just wanted to get the funny OST. Why is it doing this to me, huh? Hold on. Okay, Monsieur, you might disagree with me on this, but this is my fucking thing, and you're just gonna have to live with it, Bob. So this is what I think is the best one. It's protecting you from more bad adaptations. So I think, arguably, the best adaptation, in my opinion, is the Steins Gate anime. And here's the reason why. I bet a lot of you didn't even know Steins Gate was based off of an adaptation of a game. Steins Gate is a visual novel game. I bet a lot of you didn't even fucking know that. So here's the thing. I think Steins Gate does everything a good adaptation should do. It is really good. It's incredibly well written, incredibly well put together. It justifies its distance. Yeah, it justifies its existence because it's animated. It's a visual novel. You animate the visual novel. It makes people feel like there wasn't too much of a point. But also, Steins Gate, the show, does a really good job in cutting for time. I know there are a lot of people who will say, look, a lot of things from the game was left out. It's not so left out to the point where it's like the Danganronpa anime. The Danganronpa anime feels like it leaves so much out that it actively hurts the story. Steins Gate, the anime, doesn't do that. It cuts a few things out, but it more or less trims the fat. Well, you know, exactly. So that's the main thing. The Steins Gate anime, it adapts the story really well. It's very faithful. Oh, hello, Dark Shadow. Jeez, you showed up near the end. Hope you're having fun. It's incredibly faithful. while at the same time trimming the fat, keeping the story nice and condensed where people can enjoy it even if they haven't played the game. And that's another thing. So many people probably don't even know this is based on a visual novel game. But it's still one of the highest acclaimed anime series. People still love this show. And I think that admittedly makes it, in my opinion, the best one, because it does everything right. It does everything I want a good video game adaptation to do. It's the best VN I ever played? Exactly, you should totally play it as well. If you want more Steins Gate, play the visual novel. Like I said, because it's animated, it still justifies its existence. It doesn't feel like, why should I just play the game instead? It justifies it by being animated. You're seeing these characters move around, you're seeing all these different things. It condenses the story in a format that makes it not feel bloated, but also makes it feel like not a lot of things are being left out. And also, it's so good to the point where even if you don't know it's based off the game, you can still enjoy it. Never saw Steins Gate? No, I'm gladly be a Danganronpa. Followed this, thoroughly enjoyed it. Alright, that's no problem. But yeah, so I think this is why, for me, this is the best one. I think this is the best video game adaptation I've seen. Just impossible to make 100. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's impossible. But they did a really good job. You know? They did a really good job at condensing it down into a digestible format that people can still enjoy. And I think that's great. That's the main thing you need in a video game adaptation. You need to make it good where people who have not played the game can still enjoy it. People who have played the game can still enjoy it because it justifies its existence, and also it is cut down to a digestible format. And people love Steins Gate. A lot of people say this is one of their favorite anime of all time. They don't even know it's based off a game. And that's really fucking good. That is an achievement. Yo, thanks for following, Dark Shadow. Appreciate it, bro. So, that is, in my opinion, why the Steins Gate series, as of right now, is what I think is the best video game adaptation. I think it's the best one. But did you think we were gonna end this on a positive note? Did you think... Twitch kicked me to the main menu. Oh, no problem. Did you think we were gonna end this on a positive note? Did you think we were gonna do... You motherfucker! Did you think I was gonna end this? Oh, yeah, that's the little thing. Thank you. Nah, we were gonna end this on an awful note. We need to end this with what I think is the single worst video game adaptation. And boy, oh boy, buckle up. Ladies, gentlemen, and everything in between, buckle up. Because, we're for a ride of a lifetime as I present to you what I believe is the single worst video game adaptation of all time, and it's based off of one of my favorite video games. So, are you ready? You're not ready for it. And I guarantee you half of you probably haven't even watched it. Behold, the thing that made me want to make this whole thing is I want to rant about it. Play the music! That is... Dragon's Dogma, the anime series. Oh, good lord! I do not think a video game adaptation has hurt me so much. You didn't even know they had a series? Bro, can we swap brains? Dark Shadow, can we swap brains? Can we like swap places? I want to be in your shoes right now. Please. I don't want to live with the knowledge of this thing existing. Mind you, I wasn't the biggest fan of here's a game in general, so I never really did to do that. Yeah, no, it's fun. And also we got yeah. So the Dragon's Dogma anime, what can I say? The Dragon's Dogma anime. Firstly, Dragon's Dogma came out in 2012. Okay? It became a cult classic. For years, fans wanted Dragon's Dogma to get something new. Capcom, please, release a new Dragon's Dogma thing. We never got anything new from Dragon's Dogma until 2020, when this anime dropped. And this was the only thing we got from Dragon's Dogma between 2012 to 2020 until 2022 when the game was announced. Okay? So this was the first thing Dragon's Dogma fans got in years. And what did they get? A 7-episode show with the most unlikable characters, the most cynical storytelling, and a complete bastardization of the game's lore. Nothing in this game, nothing in this series is Dragon's Dogma. Nothing. I don't want to spoil the game for you, but they fucked everything up. The lore of the dragon, the whole reason the dragon exists, is completely changed. The dogma aspect of Dragon's Dogma, the dragon cult who worships the dragon like a god, they're just gone. They're not in the series. They're just not there. The ancient god, which is connected to the lore of the dragon, gone. That doesn't exist. What do you mean? Snapped from existence. The lore of the goblins, the basic fucking monsters of the game, gone. Changed. Do you know in Dragon's Dogma, the goblins are really unique? I'll tell you the lore of the goblins in Dragon's Dogma. So, in the video game, the goblins are red and thorny. They have thorns on them. And the reason why is because goblins are plant creatures. They are living plants in Dragon's Dogma. The way they make new goblins is through a blood ritual, where they sacrifice blood to roots of plants and trees, and they grow out of the roots. That's a unique idea. That's really fucking cool. The anime goes, what do you mean that's the lore? Nah, we want to do a goblin slayer. Because that's such a good fucking story. We want to just have them act like typical nasty little fucks instead of actually being thankful. I remember they made an MMO. Honestly, God. No, literally, the only Dragon's Dogma thing they had was the 2012 game. You might be thinking of a different. I think you're thinking of Dragon Age, maybe Dark. Yeah, no, we just want to do a Goblin Slayer. Oh, hey, do you remember the Griffin? You know, one of everyone's favorite fights? How about we make the Griffin, okay, appear for like 5 minutes, okay? And it's one of the coolest fights. When you fight in Dragon's Dogma, you have the option to grab onto monsters. So when you fight the Griffin, it's one of the best fights in the game, because it starts flying up in the air, you're holding onto its tail, slashing away at it, trying to keep a hold so you don't fall off. It's Shadow of the Colossus, but fantasy monsters. It's so cool. The anime is like, hey yo, what if we made the Griffin, like, you know, appear for like a for like a 3-minute scene, you know? And when the characters are fighting the Griffin, we like pan the camera away from them to focus on these little goblin shits. What if we do that, bro? What if wouldn't that be so funny? Wouldn't that be so good? Wouldn't that be great, man? Wait, they made a Dragon's Dogma. That looks awful. Yeah, that looks terrible. Thankfully, Dragon's Dogma 2 is great. Like, wouldn't that be funny, man? Also, one episode, it's like, yo, what if we made the 2 only likable characters turn evil and have them kill each other? Wouldn't that be funny? Wouldn't it be funny if we had a 15-minute long scene of the protagonist choking a succubus to death in the most graphic way because it looks exactly like his wife? Wouldn't that be enjoyable to watch? Wouldn't it be funny if we had the protagonist endorse slavery? Wouldn't it be so funny? What is this series? It annoys me so much. It infuriates me beyond belief. If I want to watch some disturbing stuff, I just watch Berserk. Bro, Berserk's good. Berserk, literally. You know how the point of Berserk? The plot of Berserk is that the world's shit, but you need to keep fighting. No matter how hard life gets, you gotta keep fighting for what you love and the people you care of. Do you know what the plot of the Dragon's Dogma anime is? Which, by the way, is nothing like the game. The plot of the Dragon's Dogma anime is literally, the world sucks, and humanity deserves to die for it. That's it. That's your moral. That's the Dragon's Dogma anime. The Dragon Dogma game's nothing like that. Game's fucking cool. The anime? The world sucks. Humans suck. Wouldn't it be great if they all just died? That's the anime, everyone. Doesn't that sound like something you want to watch? Get your friends, get your popcorn, sit down and just laugh about how these shows like, oh yeah, we'd all be better off dead. Like, why? Why? Why would you do this? Why would you do this? This is the most painful thing ever. And you know what's sad? You know how I mentioned that the Borderlands series makes a lot of people look at Borderlands in a negative way? You know, the Prince of Persia movie made a lot of people look at like Prince of Persia in a negative way. When this anime came out, a lot of people forgot about what Dragon's Dogma even was. So they were coming and watching this show with no knowledge of the game, and then being like, damn, if the game's like this, I don't want to play it. A cult classic game we wanted a sequel to for years. And this is it. This is it. Thankfully, the sequel is out, and Dragon's Dogma has definitely recovered. 2's doing really well. People love it. But oh my god. I have never seen a single more bastardization of a fucking series in my life. People think Borderlands is bad. People think Mario's bad. Motherfucker, watch Dragon's Dogma. It's like, yeah, you either become God or you fail and become... Yeah. Exactly. The game's cool. Honest to God, if you think that these video game adaptations you've experienced are bad, and you're sitting there like, oh damn, this is the worst thing ever. Nah. No, yeah, I hope there isn't a Steins Gate live action either, dude. I hope like the show's good as it is. Leave the show. Honest to God, you have not experienced the Dragon's Dogma anime. You have not experienced the Dragon's Dogma anime. And the people who think that they've seen it all, I've seen the worst of video game adaptations has to offer. No, you have not. I am telling you, man, every single time I remember this show exists, I want to punch a hole in my fucking wall. It is so bad. I prefer I watch it, but yeah. It is unbelievably bad, unbelievably painful, and to this day, it is the worst. It's the worst. It's the worst video game adaptation I've ever seen. And remember, I saw Borderlands a couple of days ago. That doesn't even come in spitting distance of this. I'm not kidding. I would rather get off my chair right fucking now, walk to the cinema, and buy a ticket to see Borderlands again. By myself. Than rewatch this shit. My heart, a movie so bad. Yeah, that's really funny. But honest to God, I would rather go through the Borderlands movie, the Prince of Persia movie, the Monster Hunter movie, the entire Resident Evil movie franchise before I rewatch this shit again. That is how much this series irks me. And if you ever say to yourself, hey, I'm in the mood to watch someone really bad, God have mercy on your fucking soul. If you chose to watch the Dragon's Dogma series. It's so painful. It hurts me so much. Are you gonna try watch it, Monsieur? What if it's just a bad multiverse variant? What, this one slipped through the cracks? Yeah. And honestly, that's all I gotta say about video game adaptations. How long did that take me? It took me an hour and 70 minutes, dumb. That's kind of all I got to say. But yeah, basically, what I'm trying to say is that video game adaptations are weird. Video game adaptations are very weird, and they're often very hard to handle. They're not perfect. They're very messy. And for the most part, a lot of people don't know what to do with them. But I think, if you're going to make a video game adaptation, you need to do a couple of things. You need to firstly be respectful to the source material, but not depend on the source material too much. Most of the time they're bad. That's why I make games out of movies are too, yeah. You need to be respectful, but you cannot be too reliant. You cannot depend on people watching your thing just because it's a video game adaptation. Eventually, the pizzazz will go, and you need to keep that in mind. You also cannot do a shot-for-shot recreation, because what's the point? You need to do your own thing. Do not do a shot-for-shot, do your own thing, but be respectful. You need to trim for time. If you don't trim for time, then people are gonna feel like there's too much going on. If you trim too much, however, you'll get annoyed with Gavin. That's a good inside joke there, boss. But you can't cut too much. If you cut too much, people are gonna feel like they're missing out on the story. If you cut too little, it's gonna be too bloated. You need a middle ground. And if all else fails, if your movie or series is doing awful, just make it so bad that it's good. If you're going to make a bad adaptation, at least make it a funny one, please. But for the most part, there are a lot of good video game adaptations out there. And we do need to give them more credit where credit is due, I think. It's just that there are so many bad ones, and the bad ones are god-awful, that they are genuinely the worst things ever. But hey, here's hoping that in the future we will continue to get better game adaptations, and more fun, more well put together, more respectful to the source material adaptations. And that's basically it. Remember, for every Dragon's Dogma that exists, there is a Steins Gate. For all of these, there are all of these. Okay? For everyone that goes too far in, there are ones that do just enough and stand on their own. For every ones that cut too much or cut too little, there's a nice middle ground. And also you have the movies that are so god-fucking awful, you just love them. And then there's ones that rely way too much. And at least there's the ones that try. And that is my guide to game adaptations. That is my basic guide to game adaptations. And with that, I kind of don't know what else to do for the stream, so I think we are going to rate. For everyone who came in and said hello, and watched me ramble for an hour, thank you for doing that. I know I'm weird as shit. And I know I'm, really stupid, but, you know, we need to give this into Netflix and others. You need to submit my stream to Netflix. Don't do that, please. I'd rather Netflix not get my stream. But yeah, that is my basic guide to video game adaptations. Tomorrow, if I have the time, I will continue streaming as usual, and we will continue Unicorn Overlord, because I really want to play more of that game. But in the meantime, thank you for sitting down and listening to me ramble for like a fucking whole ass hour over video games. Because, you know what would be, actually, I just thought would be the most fateful video game adaptation? A Destiny series. But you need to pay full price for every episode. So episode 1, you need to spend £70 to watch episode 1. And then episode 2 comes out, and you need to spend another £70 for one episode more. And then the next one, and the next one, and oh no, wait, episode 4's delayed. But you still need to pay the full price. That right there. I think that would be the most accurate video game adaptation. That would be a truly accurate one. Please never do that. Please don't. Please. Anyway, we're gonna raid Mao. She just started streaming. So we're gonna go raid her. Because I want to annoy her. And it's funny to annoy Mao. It's funny to annoy this cat girl. But yeah, she is working on chillin', so we're gonna be doing that, and I'm going to start the raid. In the meantime, I will give you guys my raid message, the typical box from now. I will be uploading this onto my channel, by the way, and the vault will be up for quite a while if you guys want to see it here. So yeah, as I said, tomorrow we will be back to our usual schedule. If I am able to stream tomorrow, we will see. I don't promise anything. I promise what I can promise, but I don't promise a lot. There is my raid message for people who want to copy it, for people who want to get a copy of the raid message. There you go, box from now, as usual. And yes, thank you for sitting down and listening to me ramble for an hour about video game adaptations. I hope it was as fun for you as it was for me. And in the meantime, bro, thank you all as usual, and yeah, I will see every single one of you in the next stream that we do, or on the Discord, who knows. Anyway, alright, bye everyone.